Go ahead and sit down. Go ahead. Look at your neighbor and say, he got you. Oh, come on, look at your other neighbor and say, Jesus got you. Y'all good? Okay, look. All I got is one Bible story. Now, let me explain. You see, when I was a kid, going to church wasn't an option. You went to church. Y'all hear what I'm saying? I mean, I told him this morning, if you wasn't here, I grew up in the foster care system. My foster care parents, one of the things they did was you going to church. Here's my typical weekend. On Saturday, do what you want. Have fun. Go out with your friends. Play. Do all that stuff. But you need to be in the house by 10 p.m. Because you ain't home by 10, they lock in the door. And there were only 2 keys to the house. And you know who were the key bearer? Mama had a key, Daddy had a key. They said if you do it and if it has to take place after 10 p.m., it ain't right. So get it done before 10. Rule number 2, on Sunday, everybody going to church. Doesn't matter. A typical Sunday, I'd wake up, and on the TV would be like one of those Christian TV shows, Jimmy Swaggart. And then by the time that's over, I got to be almost ready because after that, there was a TV show. His name was Oral Roberts. And then after that, it's time to go to Sunday school. See, I'm getting to the Sunday school, but let me explain something. My parents didn't play. If they said everybody going to church, they mean everybody going to church. I had a brother older than me. And I'm glad. I'm so grateful for Kenneth. I was put in a family with 5 boys, 2 girls, and I was the youngest. Kenneth was the one above me. We had shared bedrooms. And on one Sunday morning, my brother Kenneth was 12. I don't know if y'all understand 12-year-olds. See, when you're 12, you half man, half boy. When you're 12, you want to be treated like a man. You a man. I got 2 hair on my chest. I brush both of them. I'm a man. But at night, you still wear Batman pajamas. Y'all hear me? So one night, Saturday night, we go to bed. And literally, my brother had Batman pajamas. He 12. Sunday morning comes, my dad comes in the room and goes, get up, boys. Jimmy Swaggart's on. Get ready. So I got up. My brother rolls over, looks at me and says, I'm 12. I do what I want. I ain't going. I'm a man. And he rolled over and went to bed. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the greatest Sunday morning of my life. I started singing in my head, oh, happy day. I got ready. Oh, Roberts came on TV. My dad came around the corner and said, y'all ready? And I went, and he looked over and he goes, what is this? My dad big, 6'4", 6'5", bald-headed. When he get mad, he got a vein right here, pop up and down. He looked like a Klingon from Star Trek. He looked at me and went, what is this? And I said, he said he 12 and he a man. And he said, ain't no bald-headed black man gonna tell him what to do. That's what I was not saved. I had to get him in trouble, all right? My dad looked at me and went, shh, get in the car. And my dad scooped my brother up gently, like he was a little lamb. And he walked outside, and I looked at my mom, and later I asked her why she started crying. And she said, oh, baby, I wasn't crying. I was laughing. He laid my brother in the back seat, looked at me and went, shh. He always said this, if you ain't ready when mama ready, you're going like you look. And that day I realized something. He ain't lying. Those were not idle words coming out that brother's mouth. The second stop sign, the brakes squeaked, and my brother woke up. He rubbed his eyes. He looked out the window. He looked at me, and then he looked down, and there was a bat flying on his chest. All of a sudden, he starts crying, no! And all of a sudden, my dad goes, what's the rule? What's the rule? If you ain't ready when mama ready, what's going to happen? You're going like you look. So guess what, Batman? We're going to church. I was like, no, Batman. I couldn't wait. Pastor, get up and go. Are there any visitors today? I go, Batman came out of Batcave. He here today. We got to the church parking lot and said, let's go. I jumped out of the car, and my dad looked back and said, you be ready next time? He goes, Daddy, I'll be ready. And he reached under the seat and pulled out clothes. Worst Sunday of my life. Some of you are like, why are you telling me this? Because this is the stuff I grew up on. But it wasn't like you young people. You young people, y'all got everything with your little cell phones. Can call anybody. You don't even know their number. You don't even know your number. You don't know what it's like to have a coin and put it in a slot and then push a number. You don't know what it's like. Y'all got everything. You don't know what it's like. You got cartoons that tell you about Jesus. Veggie Tales. Vegetables leading you to Jesus. Never dreamed I'd see that. You know what we had when I was a kid? It was called a flannel board. Y'all don't even know. Look at them kids like, flannel board, what's that? I don't understand. It's like they had these cartoon cutout figures. And an adult would, during the week, would cut them out, and they would have a story like this one I'm gonna tell you, and they had little sticky on the, and it was almost like Velcro, and you put it up on this board, and it would stay there. We thought we'd be funny one time, because my mom was a Sunday school teacher, so we switched the heads. Like Jesus had his body, but he had his mom's Mary head. That didn't go over too well with my mother. She got mad. So this is what I call a stick 'em up story, because they stick it up on the flannel board. So here we go. If you want to read with me, it'll be on the board behind me. But if not, it goes like this. 2 Kings chapter 5, verses 1 through 14. It's the only scripture that I'm going to read you. So I'm going to read it, explain it, read it, explain it. On the second Sunday in 2025, let me give you the title of this sermon. The title is simply, There is Always a Choice. Everybody touch your neighbor and say, there's always a choice. Touch your other neighbor, say, there's always a choice. Now I'm going to say something, I'm going to say it twice so you can get it. Look at me. In 2025, the move that you're afraid to make could be the one that changes everything. I'm going to give it to you one more time. The move that you're afraid to make could be the one that changes everything. Now here we go. 2 Kings chapter 5, verse 1. Now Naaman was commander of the army of the king of Aram, and he was a great man in the sight of his master and highly regarded, because through him, not the army, him, the Lord had given victory to Aram. He was a valiant soldier, but, why is there always a but? But he had leprosy. Let me explain this Naaman so you can get the characters. This brother was bad to the bone. He was the hero. Everybody wanted to fight with him because nobody died, because he killed everybody before you could swing your sword. He was the man. He wasn't just respected by the king wishes he could be him. When Naaman, walked down the street, women giggled, and it wasn't funny. They were like, oh, sucky. Ooh, he's a handsome. Everybody wanted to be him. But he had a secret. He had leprosy. There's always a choice. Listen, I believe in a God that is behind closed doors, because I want a God that can keep me in the dark places. See, this man was great and weak at the same time, because Naaman was a leper. What is leprosy? It's something that eats from the inside out. It smells. You can't hide it after a while. Everyone sees it. At the time, Naaman was able to hide his hurt, his nasty, his rotting flesh. But there was no doctor he could go to, no drugstore, no ointment, no nurse. There was nothing. He had to come to the realization that he could not fix it himself. Sometimes in life we have things go wrong. We have things go bad. I grew up in the foster care system. My dad, I don't know who he is. My mom gave me away but kept my brother and my two sisters. I had to come to the reason. I had to come to a conclusion. I can't fix that. That's beyond my control. I can't change how I was born. But I found out my past is my history, but my future is my destiny. There's a move you can make that changes everything. Are you willing to make it in 2025? He couldn't tell anybody. If he told anybody, the power would be gone. His status would be gone. The money would be gone. His mighty image would be gone. It's all gone. Because Naaman was a leper. The stress of hiding rotting flesh became too much. The only place he didn't have to hide was at home. There were two women, his wife, and there was a slave girl. Now, I've only read one verse, and I got to read 14. I just want to make sure you get the characters. So now we got Naaman. Here's the story of the slave girl, verse 2. Now bands of raiders from Aram had gone out and taken captive a young girl from Israel, and she served Naaman's wife. There's always a choice. So now here's this girl walking home from school, going to the grocery store, taking care of her family, taking care of her little brothers and sisters. I don't know where she was going. I don't know why she was there, but she was in the wrong place at the wrong time, so she thought. But if she was in the wrong place at the wrong time, we wouldn't spend the second weekend in 2025 talking about her. So what you think is the wrong place at the wrong time, what you think is a bad situation, what you think you can't get through, what you think is impossible, is possible with God. Why did they grab this girl? What could she do for them? They just took her from her home, probably didn't know the language. She's on a place where she knew my life is over. And she was a slave in the home of Naaman and his wife. There's a song we sang in Texas at church. Not for a minute was I forsaken. Listen to me, your problem serves a purpose. So before you cast it out, before you rebuke it, before you toss it aside, understand that if God allowed it to happen to you, he is with you in the middle of it, and he will work all things together for good. All things. I know there's kids, but somebody needs to know the truth about Reggie. I did not have a last name till I was 13. When I was born, my mom slept with a man for $20 to get food for my brother and my two sisters. That is why her shame of me caused her to give me away. I had to come to grips with this. I understand that bad things happen to good people, but I didn't even think I was good people. I decided, oh well, this is the way it is. Like playing cards. They deal you a hand. You can't say to the dealer, I don't like these, give me more. You got to play with the hand that you got. But look at me. In some games, you always get to trade cards in. You got to play the game. It's called life. Note that you could trade a couple of cards in, but instead of you picking them, let Jesus pick them for you. You have no idea that there's a couple of aces in that deck. But he'll set you up to be a winner in the end. He'll set you up to be in front and not to tail. His word says it. You can win in this game of life. A lot of people call this Bible story a kid story. I think this is a grown-up story if I've ever heard one. Verse 3. She, the slave girl, said to her mistress, Naaman's wife, if only my master would see the prophet who is in Samaria, he would be cured of his leprosy. Now look at me. There is always a choice. She could have hated him. She could have resented him. How could they do this to me? I wasn't doing nothing. I'm not a soldier. Why could I be a slave? Why am I a slave? Why me? Why me? But instead, look, I'm not going to lie, I am an American. If I and I'm a slave, and my master has rotten flesh and he's dying, you know what I'm doing? Die, sucker! Which is why I'm not in the story. Because this girl literally said if he would see the prophet, he would be cured. Dude, he took you. He robbed your life. How can you think? Because there's always another choice. There's always another way to see it. There's always another way to go. There's always the move that you're afraid to make is the one that's going to change everything. 2025 is your year. I believe what Pastor said. I like the way he said it. Pastor's like, it's going to be a great year. It's going to be awesome. We're starting high and we're going to go higher. The only one that knew Naaman was dying was his wife and this servant. His wife wouldn't tell nobody. Well, what about the little slave girl? Well, to be honest, you know what they thought about her? The wife and Naaman thought she didn't matter. She's just a slave. She ain't got no home. She was kidnapped. She's alone. She just doesn't matter. But she did. And some of you think, I don't matter. I don't matter. I ain't nothing. Nobody sees me. But you're wrong. Because you matter. That little slave girl had more power than the hero in the story. He had power because of what he did. She had power because of who she knew. Hey, look, ask yourself, who do you know? Ask yourself who's on your side. Ask yourself, it's a choice who you walk with. It's a choice who you live with. It's a choice who you day by day pray and give thanks to. It's a choice who's yours. Who's yours? If it's Jesus, he's going to make a way out of no way. He's going to turn your darkness into day. He's going to be your joy in a time of sorrow. He's going to be your hope for your tomorrow. Why? You can make a move. The one that makes everybody laugh at you. She didn't have to do what she did, but she did it anyway. God let Naaman take the very person who had the answer to his greatest problem. Verse 4, Naaman went to his master and told the king what the girl from Israel said to him. By all means, the king of Aram replied, I will send a letter to the king of Israel. Naaman left, and he took with him 10 talents of silver, 6,000 shekels of gold, and 10 sets of clothing. Why can't a brother dress so much? What's wrong with him? The letter that he took to the king of Israel said this, with this letter I'm sending my servant Naaman to you so that you may cure him of his leprosy. As soon as the king of Israel read the letter, he tore his robe and said, am I God? Can I kill and bring back to life? Why does this fellow send someone to me to be cured of leprosy? See, he's trying to pick a quarrel with me. Look at verse 8. When Elisha, the prophet, the man of God, heard that the king had tore his robe, he sent him a message. Why have you tore your robes? Okay, I got to stop. Because y'all didn't get it. So this king, Aram, who has this dude, this king who has Naaman, who can fight, kill, he shows up with leprosy and says to this other king, I was told you can cure me of leprosy. My king sent a letter for you to cure me of this leprosy. And the king of Israel knows who this Naaman is. He ain't got nobody that can stand up against this sucker. He the man, all right? And the king's like, what are we going to do? I can't cure nobody. Why did the king of Israel jump to that conclusion? Knowing that the man of God was in his camp. So the reason why the prophet said, yo, king, why you tear your robe? In other words, he's saying, why you acting out like that? That's what y'all do. That's what some of us do. Something goes wrong, we throw it all in. Oh, God don't love me. He don't care about me. Why he letting this happen? And God's like, why you tearing your robe? Don't you know who I am? Don't you know what I can do? Don't you know I created it? I took nothing, hung it on something, and it stayed, and I called it earth. Do y'all know who he is? Listen to me. He's that man. He can make anything, everything. This morning, my quote was, what is impossible with man is possible with God. Dude, this girl, unbelievable. They took Naaman, and here's Naaman, and the king's tearing his robe, and the servant comes and goes, hey, king, the prophet want me to ask you, why you tearing your robe? Then he said, have the man come to me, and he will know that there is a prophet in Israel. So Naaman went with his horses and chariots and stopped at the door of Elisha's house. This is good. Hit your neighbor, say, this is good. Hit your other neighbor, say, it's getting real good right now. So he shows up at the house. Elisha sent a messenger to say to him, go wash yourself 7 times in the Jordan, and your flesh will be restored, and you will be cleansed. Look at verse 11. But Naaman went away angry and said, I thought that he would surely come out to me and stand and call on the name of his God and wave his hand over my spots and cure me of my leprosy. Okay, now wait, here's the deal. You want God to help you, but you want him to help you the way you want him to. You want God to deliver you, but you want to be delivered on your terms. Did you hear about the man that was in the flood? There was a man in the flood, and a huge pickup truck with big old tires came, and he said, come on, man, come with me. He goes, nah, God's going to save me. Then it got deeper, and then a guy came in a boat, and he said, nah, God's going to save me. Then he's on the house, and a helicopter came. He goes, no, God, he drowned. Got to heaven, looked at God and said, I thought you said you were going to save me. And God said, I sent a truck, I sent a boat, I sent a helicopter. What more do you want me to do? Hey, what y'all waiting for? I ain't much, but I'm telling you, if you in this service, if you get the chance to walk into an Equippers church, you have a chance to find hope. You have a chance to find the answer. You have the chance to change your life for better. You have a chance to meet the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. You have a chance for your life to be changed forever. But guess what? The move you're afraid to make is the one that can change everything. You got to make that move tonight. Touch your neighbor, say, make the move. Are not Abana and Pharpar and the rivers of Damascus better than all the waters in Israel? Could not wash in them and be cleansed? So he turned and he went off in a rage. He was mad. Hey, look at me. Do you want to know the secret to serving Jesus? Obedience is the ingredient. There you go. Just trust and obey, for there's no other way. Just trust and obey. Why do we give altar calls? Why do we let people walk up front and say, I got to get my life right? Because when you start walking, you're obedient. You're obedient. That's obedience. And you know what it is? It's the ingredient that unlocks the answer, unlocks the miracle, unlocks Holy Spirit moving in your life. It unlocks it. When you decide, I'm going to church, I'm starting a small group, I'm going to be a part of this, I'm going to help with young people. All those kids that were touched this week, it happened because an adult gave their vacation, took time off, went and cooked and did everything they did so a kid can find hope in Jesus Christ. Thank you for what you've done. Obedience is the ingredient. Y'all good? Y'all quiet tonight. I don't know. I'm sweating though, so at least I'm trying. I'm just saying. Watch. Verse 13. Naaman's servant. Here we go back to the slave girl. So Naaman goes home. He's mad. He's mad. He said, what's up with that dude? I don't even know what he looks like. Prophet, man of God. He sent his slave to come and tell me what to do. Not knowing that if it wasn't for his slave, he wouldn't be that far. But watch this. He goes home and he's mad. He's mad. And here's what the slave girl said. My father. First of all, he stole her from her home, her people, and now he's my father. It's all how you look at it, y'all. My father, if the prophet had told you to do some great thing, would you not have done it? How much more then when he says, wash and be cleansed? That little girl must have been watching Dr. Phil, because that was good, y'all. He had no answer. So in verse 14, so he went down and he dipped himself in the Jordan. How many times? I'm sorry, how many times? One more time? 7 times as the man of God told him, and his flesh was restored and became cleansed like that of a young boy. The move you're afraid to make could be the move that changes everything. Come on, keyboard player. Send the keyboard player. Help me out. Hey, everybody, watch me. Watch me very carefully. I got 2 things I got to do for you. Number 1 is this. He dipped 7 times, okay? You know good and well. After he got in that water and dipped 1 time, he looked up and looked down at his spots, and they were there. 2, they're there. 3, they're there. 4, they're there. 5, they're there. 6, they're there. What if he had stopped at 5? What if he had stopped at 6? But obedience is the ingredient. You know good and well. Not only that, talk about this. Let me talk to you about it. By the time he got to that river, he had to take off the armor that was hiding his rotting flesh. So now all the soldiers that fought with him, that thought he was this God, realized, what's that smell? Oh my God, he's got leprosy. To be healed, he had to come clean. He just had to come clean. He literally had to go, I don't know what's going to happen. But the move he was afraid to make was the one that changed everything. He didn't dip 5, 4, 3, 2. He didn't dip 6. He dipped 7 times. And on that 7th time, when he came out of the water, it was all gone. The nasty, the stink, it was all gone. All gone. Why? Because when it comes to Jesus, he gives us a choice. And in 2025, the move you're afraid to make could be the one that changes everything. What does that look like? Hey, do I have 5 more minutes? I know I do. Y'all ain't got nothing. I got to go down south and preach this whole thing again and play both those songs. Well, I could probably just play one and tell them, no, I won't. Because you island people be telling people, he played 2 songs. Make sure he played 2 songs for y'all too. Watch me close. Watch me close. I'm not normal, and trust me, the young people at camp told me I wasn't normal. You can take that 2 different ways, all right? I'm there, I got done preaching the first night. Second day I showed up, I'm hanging out, and this girl, camper, comes up to me, and she said this. She walked up and she goes, yo, where you learn those words? Because they got to my heart. Nobody gets to my heart. I said, I can kind of see you a little rough. She goes, yes, I am. Except when you speak. I said, thanks for listening to me. She goes, you're very nice. Would you be my uncle? You see, I start by letting the kids know I'm not Pastor Reggie. It's family. This is all family. So I'm Uncle Reggie. All kids want is to be a part of family. Hey, don't make fun of kids who are in gangs. They just want to belong. And that gang was the one that gave them more love than the city did. So don't. Just give them another reason to switch gangs. Because they will. They will. Everybody say John Blanchard. One more time. Say John Blanchard. That means nothing until I tell you this story. Now remember, the move that you're afraid to make is the one that can change everything. John Blanchard got drafted to fight in World War I for the United States of America. When he got that letter, they gave him 2 weeks to show up in Florida for basic training. When he got done with basic training, he had 1 weekend before he left on a boat to Europe, thinking he would die for his country. He was told that last weekend to go to the library. You can pick 2 books and take them overseas with you. He loved to read. So on Friday afternoon, he showed up at the library and he was looking through all the books and he saw one that was a little different. It was leather bound. That's old school right there. He pulled it out and opened it up and he started reading. He ended up sitting at a table, and finally the librarian came up and said, sir, we close in 15 minutes. I see your uniform. Are you going to war? You could take that book with you. And he looked at her and he said, I am sorry. I got caught up in these words. She said, what book is it? He goes, no. He didn't get caught up in the words that the author put on the pages. He was caught up on the words that somebody who had that book wrote in the margin. Somebody wrote notes in the margin. And he said to the librarian, is there any way to find out who this is? And she goes, when do you leave? He goes, Monday night. He says, come Monday at noon. There's a paper trail in the library of every book. I could find out. When he went back on that Monday, she had a piece of paper. She goes, you're in luck. Her name is Hollis Maynard. Hollis lives in New York City. Here's her address. You can write her. Now, today, that would never happen. You get someone's name and address, their bank account is gone. But this is World War I, y'all. So you know what he did? He went to the park, got a pen and a piece of paper, and he started writing, Dear Hollis. And before he got on the boat that night, he wrote a letter to Hollis, and he said, I don't know you, you don't know me. I saw a book, and I'm taking it with me overseas, and you wrote notes in the margin. I don't know if you've done it, but here's the name of the book. I was wondering if you would be my pen pal while I'm in the war. A month in, he gave her an address where the mail would go and would find him. He got a letter 4 weeks after being in the war, and it was from Hollis. Once a month, he would get a letter. He would write her back, get a letter, write her back. For 13 months, she got him through the hardest time of her life. They would write back and forth. Finally, he knew that the war was coming to an end. He couldn't believe that he made it. In a letter, he put a picture of himself in his army uniform, and he said, I'm going to come home soon, and I'm going to come to New York, and I want to meet you. I just wanted to know you to know what I look like. Can you send me a picture? A month later, he gets a letter from her, and she says, if you notice, there's no picture because you need to see me face to face. I don't want to ruin the relationship we have. But let me know when you're coming home. I'll pick the day. It'll be 7 p.m. at Grand Central Station in New York City. And let's meet. I'll be the one with the red rose on my lapel. Okay, when he got home, he picked a day. He got to New York. He got there at 4 o'clock. The sucker was sitting on a bench. He was 3 hours just waiting. About 2 minutes till 7, he fixed his army uniform, straightened up his tie, and he stood up and he started looking. At that moment when he started looking, a woman walked by. She had blonde hair, blue eyes. She had a green dress. Her dress said, spring is coming. No, it didn't. It said, spring is here, all right? When she walked by him, she looked and winked at him and said, hey, soldier, are you going my way? Instinct took over. He took 2 steps toward the green dress, and then his mind said, she don't have a flower, and she didn't have a red flower. So when he stopped and she walked by, he looked back where she came from, and there was a lady. Gray hair, mid-40s. Her hair was tucked into a hat that was old. She had a red rose on her lapel. He totally forgot about the green dress. And he turned and he walked over. When he got close to her, he said, Hollis, are you Hollis? He says, I'm John. Here's the book. Can I take you to dinner? I want to thank you. You got me through the hardest year of my life. And she went, son, look, I don't know what you're talking about. She said, all I know is a lady came up to me and asked me if I would wear this red rose. And that if you would came up and talk to me to tell you that Hollis was the woman in the green dress. And because you didn't follow her and came to me, she's at the restaurant across the street and she's waiting for you because you passed the last test. The move you're afraid to make could be the one that changes everything. How did that change everything? 6 kids, 24 grandkids, 55 years marriage later. That little brother's the happiest man in the world. He didn't follow his eyes, he followed his heart. He didn't follow his mind, he followed his heart. Because the move you're afraid to make could be the one that changes everything. There are 2 people I need to pray for before I go. Number 1, if you're here today and you're going through a hard time, if you're here today and you're like, I don't know what to do, if you're here today and you have a leprosy moment, maybe you're waiting for test results to come back, maybe you're waiting for some kind of decision to come, maybe it's out of your hands, maybe you're looking at jail time. I don't know what situation could put you in the same situation as the man who had leprosy. But whatever it is, the move you're afraid to make could be the one that changes everything. You got to give it to God.